civilian pilot training program.
But in the colleges.
Well, they knew the war was coming,
Yeah,
and they knew that we were
Short
way
of-
behind
Short of pilots.
in aviation entirely. You know why we got in the first place?
No.
I wrote a letter to Eleanor Roosevelt. I really did. Well, I knew her, you see. Washington, you
Yeah.
do. And they started the CPT program, and having worked for the government, I knew everybody. So they said, oh, did you hear what's going to happen? They're going to have this wonderful program. So I asked about it, and they said, men only. So I told her, she had teas every once in a while, and see, her children and I went to the same schools a lot. So I told her about it. She said, well, that's not right. Next thing I
didn't know
knew, they
that.
said 1 girl for every 10 boys.
I didn't know that.
Weren't you one for
I was
10?
I was the only girl in the class of 48 boys.
Yeah. So they did that. They allowed us in because they thought it was reasonable. I mean, girls can do what other people can do. For heaven's sakes. It's just a plane. It doesn't know what sex you are. Then I started out at the field right outside of Washington, excuse me, in Maryland. And I had an instructor that had bad luck with females, because he had this one that got quite hysterical on him. And so he didn't like that very much, and it turned out to be the man that's my husband now. He changed his mind.
I said they were going to hire women, and I was hired in early 43. I went to Sweetwater in 43.
Okay. Now you mentioned that Jackie Cochran started,
Jackie
got this.
had now started it.
How did she get it all, the ball rolling and all this stuff?
Well,
General Arnold.
Oh,
he
Hap
was-
Arnold,
yeah,
yes, right.
Yes. And then it was time. They needed us very much. So she came back to start the Wasps. It was presented to her. There are all these airplanes stacked up at the factories because the factories are working overtime. They're not getting to where they need to be. So they immediately thought we need more ferry pilots. So that's what we started out by being. And so we went down to, she had her first school in But first class was real super secret,
Yes, you
because
were.
it might not have worked.
Yes, you were. They were an experiment.
So we
Oh, I see.
were told to pretend we were something else.
That's right, you were an
So we
experiment.
picked on being a girls' basketball team.
We wore, yeah, well, they didn't have a real uniform.
That's right.
They found some old flight suits, and they're great big coveralls. We just cinched them in, and then you bought your own brown khaki pants and bought a white shirt. That was your uniform. And then the little overseas cap, a khaki overseas cap.
Speaking of uniforms, you've got your blouse on
This
there.
is what we have when it finally was ordered. This and the pants were the same color, black shoes.
Jackie picked out the color. It
Did
looked
she?
good with the blonde's hair, you know.
Then it depended on where you were stationed, what you flew.
That's right.
Sometimes you'd cross the country about 3 times a week, as you take things from here to be sent, to be shipped over, really. And
Well, the one I remember is the P-51s back to Newark. They'd put you on a night train over to Buffalo. You'd get a 63 and take it to Great Falls,
Great
Montana.
Falls.
And a C-47 was waiting. You'd take you back to Palm Springs.
Yeah.
But you'd go wash out your undies, get on the plane the next morning back over to
Exactly.
Mines Field.
Exactly.
I love 51s. And
Our 51 was beautiful.
It was our
I like
favorite.
it, too.
Anybody that flew it was their favorite. And I like 63s. And you like 38. She flew a P-38.
Yeah.
I know
Did
that.
you?
Well, the 38 came out late in time, and really the thing about it is that he had 2 engines.
Yeah.
So if one
Yeah.
quit beside the other one. But you see, when I'm with the 51 group, I say the 51's my favorite. I'm in the 38, say, well, the 38's my
38's
favorite. You have to be tactful.
Yeah. So did both of you end up here in Palm Springs at the same time?
Yeah. We started at the base.
How many girls did you end up with then when you got your squadron together?
The 11 of us are in that final
11
picture.
are there, and I don't think we were
Weren't
ever
we-
more than 20.
I was going to say 20, 24.
I took off from, where was it going? Dallas to Newark. That was the usual run.
Yeah, we took them all to Newark to get shipped.
So usually you had to land someplace, so I landed where there's this great big airport in North Carolina, and I had no brakes. I am speeding down this thing with just no brakes. Scared me to death.
Ooh.
Well, they came and they examined that it had been sabotaged. they showed me out at placing the little brake thing, somebody had taken, punched a hole in it. So all the time I'm
Your
flying
fluid is
happily
out.
from Dallas to Carolina, this thing is dripping out
fluid.
that wonderful pink fluid that we relied on to get out.
Oh, no, I turned the Stairman over and
Mhm.
out of Dallas, and we pick them up in Wichita and take them all the way out to the West Coast, Lancaster,
Biplane.
yeah. And it's a long flight in an open cockpit in the middle of December.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, it's cold.
And I'd left Phoenix with oh, you know my buddy. So we both landed at Blythe. She landed ahead of me, and I saw her turn off. Well, I was taxiing way too fast, and I slammed the brakes on as I started the turn, and over I went upside down. I'm hanging upside down. So now Gail jumps out. She shut hers off and ran back. She said, "I got to get you out of here. The gasoline is in the wing tank." And she said, "This will catch on fire." So she reached up, undid my belt, and I fell on my head.
I remember
So
that.
now the
Yeah, that's
ambulance
true.
came.
That's
I'm
true.
bleeding. I'd fallen out of my head.
I don't want to bring up a bad
Let's
note,
don't
but
talk
there's
about
one, no, there's one statistic I think is interesting. We had 30, was 39? 38. 38
Now we get a flag on our coffin since we're veterans.
but it,
In fact, some of the girls, their mothers couldn't afford to bring the body home. We take up collections.
We did.
I want you, while I'm thinking about it, each of you take your picture here and kind of hold it in front of you, and so I
Oh,
can.
that is almost criminal, isn't it? 60 years later.
Look at those.
That's
Oh,
right.
I
So how
like
many years
the-
later?
About 60, I think.
I think this is cool.
Oh,
I didn't think much of that at the time either. Yours is great. Look at that
Well,
happy smile.
Well, I thought yours looked pretty good. Okay.
Okay, let me go over here and let's get, there we go.
Oh, there's that